assigned to us as the work came in. Agent Garrett.
Is that how you met Leonard Sobietsky?
Emma Caan. Yes, he was a client at Gemini. Agent Tilwell.
Do you always meet all your clients?
Emma Caan. No, he's the only one I've ever met. He just came into the office one day and asked to meet me. Agent Tilwell.
And that's not typical?
Emma Caan. No, it isn't. But nothing about Lenny Sobietsky is typical. I took a step back to broaden my view and found that the vibrant greens and verdant bursts of purple and blue in my Tahitian countryside mimicked those in his perfectly. I had gotten the shape of the women's curves just right, and they waited expectantly on the porch and in the yard, and my colors shared his exact balance between dazzling and muted, evoking a sense of hedonism and humidity. Still, I wasn't satisfied. I shuffled to my right so that I was now standing in front of the original. I leaned in closer, my nose almost touching the green and pink impasto as I narrowed my eyes in an attempt to channel the artist. I came up empty. I straightened my back and allowed my cheeks to puff out as I exhaled, acutely aware of a tingle of dissatisfaction at the nape of my neck. My painting was good. To an untrained eye, it would appear an exact replica of Gauguin's rich, confident Tefare, which depicted two women working in a yard and a house with an older woman on the porch, while the mountains of Tahiti stretched skyward in the background. I had used the same unprimed fabric for the canvas that he had, the same paint, the same brushes, the same. I nodded resolutely in an attempt to convince myself I was content with my work, but the tingling endured. It would be simply too tragic to be mediocre at copying somebody else's work, even if I had already resigned myself to the fact that my own paintings were unexceptional. Technically superior, emotionally detached. That's what my college professor had said about my work. I felt a familiar self-loathing begin to choke me, so I quickly closed my eyes and steadied my breath. When I opened them, my focus settled on the woman on the porch. I put down my brush and picked a white cotton glove out of the box sitting on the shelf behind me, then pulled it over my palm so as not to damage the painting with the oils from my hand. I gently placed my covered index finger to the woman's head in the original, attempting to touch whatever inconsistency I couldn't quite find. The painting I was copying had just sold at Sotheby's for $137 million, and its buyer, Leonard Sobietsky, had given it to my company for us to produce an exact replica. Other clients rarely gave me an original to copy from, but Mr. Sobietsky was particular, demanded I use the same materials the artist had, and often insisted I paint from the original to get the textural intricacies and borders correct. He also always paid his $30,000 fee in advance. It's annoyingly perfect. Sienna's voice punctured my thoughts, and with that, the noises of the busy studio around me did too. I turned and looked past her at the large room blanketed in paint-splattered drop cloths, speckled with pairs of easels and my 25 coworkers diligently copying priceless works of art. The clock on the wall indicated it was noon, though it seemed like only a few moments had passed since I'd arrived at 7 o'clock that morning. Not quite perfect, I said. I slipped off the cotton glove and threw it in the trash before grabbing the orange brush and slathering the woman's sturdy legs with an extra coat of paint. I waited a couple of minutes for it to dry, then allowed myself a satisfied smile before turning my attention back to Sienna. My only work friend was just shy of 6 feet tall and rail thin. The thick dark hair she tied up in a messy ponytail further accentuated her large almond-shaped brown eyes. Today she wore a gray V-neck sweater over tight black jeans with ripped knees, and not a stitch of makeup. But despite her best efforts to make herself appear average, she was striking in a high-fashion model sort of way. Her entire personality was almost an apology for her superior genetics. She was kind and funny and took particular care to befriend me when she saw me eating lunch alone during my first week at Gemini.